Hey buddies, Mr. Pugly here, coming at you another Wonderlands news video. Today I want to talk about the new information that we got about the Chaos Chamber. Now, if you guys don't know what the Chaos Chamber seems like a endlessly replayable endgame dungeon that allows you to farm gear indefinitely, and it's sort of like a roguelike, but I'm going to get more into it in a few moments. I do want to say I'm going to be calling off a total of 2 whole weeks of work just so I can make videos and stream it. So if you want to get as much Wonderlands content as possible, I'm going to try to make 5 videos a day, so this is the perfect place for you. But I really want to advertise that I'm going to be streaming 5+ hours every single day for the first 2 weeks of Wonderlands. So if you want to see me play Wonderlands and experience it the first time with me, please check out my Twitch on the top right and like, comment, subscribe, just so you can get as much Wonderlands content as possible. But let's actually get into the meat and potatoes of the video.
Legendary? Whoa! No way, dude!
So if you guys remember, we had that really old trailer that basically showed a giant D20 that was like all rainbowy and glowing. We could finally understand that it's basically the entrance points to the Chaos Chamber. If you guys watched the trailer that I'm actually showing in the background at the moment, you probably saw all these amazing features, all these different hyped up sessions, and like people just playing the game as I show right here, of a real cool end game mode. And it didn't 100% explain what is actually happening on the screen. You could probably gather most of the information. We saw different bosses, we saw different enemies, we saw a whole bunch of different stuff like objectives, rabbits spewing out legendaries, but I'm going to actually explain what this actually is. What a normal Chaos Chamber run is going to be is basically a randomized challenge that should take around 20 to 30 minutes to complete as advertised, but it's probably going to be a lot quicker because normally when we get real good at these games, the expected time to play is a lot shorter. But basically, as you go through the dungeon, there's going to be different paths you can take in different rooms that all have different bonus objectives. There'll be a number of enemies that you have to kill before you can actually proceed. Each room that you encounter, there'll be different objectives that you can actually do, which will allow you to get additional rewards, which is very exciting. So if you complete the objective, it's quite possible we'll get more crystals. A few objectives that we got an example of was like destroy the Dragon Lord statue, protect Butt Stallion statue. So we got 2 different statue variants, protect and destroy. We also got an example of, in the trailer, keep fire sprites alive by feeding them motes, which I'm not 100% sure what that's going to be, but we'll have to find out. Finish the enemies while standing inside the sacred ground, which is very similar to Risk of Rain teleporter event, if you guys aren't familiar with that. We don't have any other examples, but it sounds like we have a decent variety, and I'm very excited to see how much they actually reward you with. And we can't forget the big boss called, I'm not sure how to say it, it might be Dryl, whose chains are the sea, which is a very cool boss that we actually saw a glimpse of in one of the trailers. So it's very nice we finally see that he is a returning boss, or maybe even one of the final bosses in the Chaos Chamber. And then after you clear 3 total rooms, there's going to be a mini boss, followed by another 3 total rooms, followed by a main boss fight. It sounds like the mini boss fight that we're going to face is going to be previous bosses that we've encountered throughout our adventure of Wonderlands, while the final main boss might also be like that, but it's quite possible that the final boss will probably be an enemy we've never seen before, just to really give you an incentive to really do the mode besides the loot that is going to drop as well. So once again, 3 normal rooms with regular encounters, then a boss, another 3 rooms, and then a final boss. So a total of 8 rooms until you complete the Chaos Chamber. As you go throughout the Chaos Chamber, you'll be getting a lot of different things, but let's first talk about the amount of level layouts there's going to be. So there's going to be up to 60 different level layouts, which means different rooms that you can encounter, which is just incredible that there's that many different rooms. If you guys aren't familiar with roguelike terms, this pretty much means that there's going to be randomized levels every single time you go throughout your adventure in the Chaos Chamber, with different enemies, different spawns, different blessings that we'll talk about in a few moments here. But the real incentive to completing a Chaos Chamber run, besides the loot at the end, which is very interesting, we'll talk about in a few moments, I've said that a lot, you're also going to be getting Moon Orbs. Moon Orbs has only been shown to drop from Chaos Chambers at the current moment. It's really possible that we'll be able to get Moon Orbs another way, but it's been advertised that Moon Orbs can drop from the Chaos Chamber, which is a unknown currency that we didn't actually even know its purpose was until now. This is going to be an in-game currency that allows us to re-roll our enchantments, aka this game's version of anointments, at a re-roll station in Brighthoof. If you want more information on what enchantment re-rolling really is, click the link on the top right. It's really game-changing. It's a little bit different than the re-roll machine that we got in Borderlands 3, so please be excited because it's very, very good. Similar to all roguelikes, the Chaos Chamber is going to have different things that you can collect along your way to boost your character or even make your run even harder. For example, as you go across the Chaos Chamber, there's going to be crystals that you can collect. Now, crystals are the quote-unquote rainbow rarity that was disproven quite a while ago, but those are those very shiny looking crystals that people thought was rainbow loot, but it's actually the in-game currency for the Chaos Chamber. These crystals can be used to buff your character during your encounter, but the most important use of crystals is going to be getting specific dedicated loot sources from the bunny statues, as I'm showing right here, which has a very funny animation. It fills up its stomach and then spits out a rainbow with your loot as well. But this changes really everything that we know for endgame farming, because normally we save, quit, farm, you know. Of course, getting a specific type of loot, it's going to be still easier and more probable to get it from the dedicated loot source. So you probably still need to save, quit to get a certain loot, but this is an alternative that allows you to get specific type of guns that you want. So if you want an RPG, you could go here, feed the crystals to the RPG bunny, and you'll get RPGs. Same for SMGs, same for rings and amulets, and it doesn't specify that you can get armor from here, but I would probably assume you could get armor because everything's included, the guns, the rings, and amulets. And once again, it doesn't list weapons on this, but I'm sure melee weapons are going to be available as well to obtain, as well as spells. And I briefly discussed that you can use the crystals to buff up your characters. Let me provide an example on what I mean by that. So besides saving your crystals up towards the end, you can actually encounter altars, as they put it, to basically receive a buff that are called blessings. Blessings are applied basically for the remainder of the run and don't carry over to your next run, same as your crystals. Once you complete this mode, you're not going to be able to carry anything with you except for the weapon and gear that you've got. So all the crystals, all your blessings, and all your curses will be reset. Once again, there's another keyword, curses, but we'll talk about that more in a few moments. An example of blessings that we can get, and keep in mind, all of these are stackable, so you might just get a bunch of damage or a bunch of movement speed, but an example that they give is increased critical hit damage, ammo capacity, melee speed, movement speed. So because these buffs are stackable, you might get a run that is just making you go supersonic, or even have a buff that basically gives you a ton of crit damage and you're just one-shotting everyone you see by headshots. It just sounds really, really fun. If you guys like roguelikes, you're gonna love this mode. I think this is gonna be my favorite mode to play co-op with, personally. You can also obtain blessings by getting imbued by Queen Buttstallion herself if you choose her over one of the portals at the end of your encounter. After you complete a room, you're going to see a rainbow glowing die that spawns and it will drop the crystals for you. So after you complete a room, there's going to be 2 portals that can spawn. As I said before, there's going to be Queen Buttstallion as one of them. The other 3 are going to be a crystal dice that reward you with more crystals, a gear dice that rewards you with new loot when you beat the encounter, and a chance for a portal to spawn, and if you take it, it adds an extra layer of challenge in the form of a new curse. These curses are sort of like mayhem modifiers, because an example that they gave was very similar to mob mentality, which was, I believe, a normal mayhem modifier, and its rendition in this game is called Break It Up. So this curse named Break It Up basically means that when all the enemies get really close to each other, they'll have higher fire rates and accuracy. So they'll be really good at gunning you down, but we don't have any other example of curses. It's very possible that the other curses will just be more HP, more damage, random stuff like that. It might even curse to make your character slower or something. We don't 100% know. It did explain that there'll be debuffs for you as well. So it's very possible that we might get something that just makes your run basically null and you can't even defeat enemies anymore if you get real unlucky. These curses are marked in different levels of difficulty. There's easy, medium, hard. We don't know any examples of easy, medium, hard at the moment, but completing a room with a curse, you'll be rewarded with the extra crystals in exchange for the amped up difficulty. And sometimes there's an example here that an easy curse might even benefit you for your build, so you can take advantage of them, which which sounds incredible. I'm not sure what that's going to be. But since it's random whether or not you get a cursed portal to spawn, it's possible you might never even get a chance to use a curse. Another example of a way to use your hard-earned crystals is that before you enter a portal, you can actually make the next encounter elite, which makes the enemies in the next room much more difficult. In return, you're going to get improved loot if you actually survive, which is very interesting. Hopefully, to make this worth it, completing an elite encounter will hopefully give you more net crystals, or even the reward will be worth it, because I'm not 100% certain, because it doesn't quite say on what's going to be improved besides the loot they drop. So that's really up in the air. And the final icing on the cake for this amazing new end game mode for us is that there's going to be chances to have bragging rights to your friends by a leaderboard. So every week, it's quite possible to reset it at Thursday because they really like Thursdays. We're going to see a new featured run that allows us to run a specific seed, which basically means that all the rooms are going to be very similar or have similar aspects. And this will allow us to try to run it as quickly as possible, try to get in the top 10%, because if you're in the top 10%, you'll be showed on the leaderboard, which basically means you'll be on the top of the leaderboard and have not only everyone will be able to see you, but you'll also be able to brag to your friends. The one concerning aspect I've heard people talk about is it's quite possible people could cheat and unfortunately ruin the featured runs, but it's quite possible also that they might have an anti-cheat engine. We don't know, but I wouldn't worry about it until we actually see it. The way to get higher on the leaderboard is based on how quickly you can complete the run, how difficult it was based on the curses that you picked up, and how many crystals you collected, which is very, very cool. I can't wait to see Lazy Data and Quag and a bunch of other people be near the top and just try to beat them. It's going to be so much fun, guys. I'm absolutely psyched for this mode. I'm really happy they listened to us and gave us another alternative to endgame that we didn't have in Borderlands 3, because the Borderlands 3 endgame was a bit lacking, so it's really nice that we have this new way to really traverse our endgame. And since it's a randomly generated chaos chamber every single time, besides the feature run, we're going to have a very fun replayable endgame dungeon to play with. So I'm very excited to play this mode with you guys and play it on the first day. Hopefully we can do it on the first day. I don't think we'll hit max level on the first day when we stream, but maybe we will. But as always, a big shout out to the members who make these videos possible. We have Jace Noodles, Clairvoyant, 31bar70, and Rick Iglesias. These are the people who support me as little as $5 a month, and you can also support me as little as $5 a month by clicking the link in the comments description or on the top right. The more members we have, the closer I get to becoming full-time, which means more videos for you guys. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.
And the last shall be first to immerse in a pass out heat, facing him up with a moxie melt till he woke up drowning in tchotchke hell. War in a cave with a torch on a wall, then a window arrangement of porcelain dolls.